Hi everyone. In today's video, we're going to be learning to multiply decimal numbers by 10 and 100. Now, before you watch this video, it's really important that you go back and watch the first video about how to multiply whole numbers, not decimal numbers, but whole numbers by 10 and 100. However, if you've watched that and you have a good idea of how to do that, then let's get cracking with how to multiply decimal numbers by 10 and 100. So you should know already that if we take, for instance, 7 times 10, we put a 7 in the units column, and then because we're timesing it by 10, we move it up by 1 column, and a 0 will fill the gap. So the answer then would be 70. Now, you might have been tempted to think that, well, all we need to do is add a 0 on the end. It looks really simple. 7 times 10, 70. 43 times 10, 430. It looks like we're just sticking a 0 on the end every time. However, this does not work when it comes to decimals, as we're about to see. So if you've been thinking, I'll just add a 0 on any time I have to multiply, now's the time to forget that. Now we really need to be thinking about this moving the columns strategy. So let's start off with a simple decimal number. We'll go 4.7, and we're going to multiply that by 10. Well, let's write 4.7 in here. And let's say that we stuck to the strategy of just adding a 0 in the end. Well, what happens when we do that? I've actually achieved nothing. I still have 4.7. That's the same number. 4.70 is the same as 4.7. I've not changed anything about the number. However, if I use our moving the column strategy, the 4 becomes a 40, the 0.7 becomes a 7 units. Now I can see, well, I've actually made the number bigger. It is 47. So the numbers actually stay the same. It's still a 4 and a 7, but they've moved up their place value. They've become a larger place value. Let's do just one more like that. So let's do 6.92 times 10. Well, here is 6.92. Again, just sticking a 0 on the end will not work. That won't change the number. So if I'm multiplying it by 10, how many places do I move it? 10 has 1 0, so I move it 1 place. And so it becomes 69.2. What about multiplying by 100 then? Well, let's go 7.5 times 100. Well, here's our 7.5. And I'm going to move it up. Now, I've not actually created enough columns for this, but hopefully you can visualize there would be a hundreds column over here. So I move it up 1 place, 2 places. So I've got a temporary hundreds column here now. And so we've got 7 hundreds, 5 tens, no units. And so I've created 750. What if we start off with a very small number then? What about 0.03 times 100? Well, the same strategy will work. There's 0.03. I'm multiplying it by 100, so I'm going to make it bigger by 2 places. So here we go. 1, 2. What do I have? 3 units. So the answer is 3. So that is multiplying decimal numbers by tens and 100s. What about dividing then? Well, like before, we know that dividing is just the opposite of multiplication. So whereas things get bigger when we multiply them, dividing makes them smaller. So tens will become units. Units will become tenths. Tenths will become hundredths, and so on. Everything's going to move down the way, become smaller. So let's start off with 45 divided by 10. Well, we'll write our 45 in, and we're dividing it, so it's all going to become smaller, and it's going to become smaller by 1 place, because we're dividing by 10. So there we go. Forgot our decimal point here, but it's going to become 4.5. This time we have 67 divided by 100. Well, we'll put our 67 in, and because we're dividing it, it's going to become smaller, and it's going to become smaller by 2 places because we're dividing by 100. So we'll take it here, 1 place, 2 place. So it's become 0.67. 0.67. So there you have it. That is how to multiply and divide decimal numbers by tens and 100s.